Hi, I'm Carrie, a Conservation Education Liaison with the St. Louis Zoo. Since we're unable to have a conversation on zoo grounds, we're answering some of your questions from home. Today's question and answer segment will feature One Health. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, One Health has been featured in the news. Now we will answer what is One Health and what does it have to do with the St. Louis Zoo? What it is a holistic approach to health, looking at the health links between the ecosystem, wildlife, and humans. Often in today's societies, we don't see a link between wildlife, ecosystem health, and our own health. But no matter where you live or how you live your life, there are links. As the human population grows, we encroach on wild places. We bring with us our domesticated animals, whether that be livestock or companion animals. Those animals then have an opportunity to interface with wildlife and share diseases. Those diseases are then able to be transmitted or spilled over into humans. Case in point, coronavirus. That's also an example of not only is it human populations expanding, but also in our treatment of wildlife. Because of wildlife trafficking and wet markets, we also provide opportunities for novel viruses to go from wildlife into humans. We at the St. Louis Zoo are lucky enough to have a team dedicated to this study. They're called the Institute for Conservation Medicine, and we'll hear from the team as they answer the rest of our questions.
Hi there. The ICM's work spans the globe. Some of our work is international, some is local. A lot of our local work has to do with native reptiles, with particularly turtles, both aquatic and terrestrial. One project that the ICM is known for is the St. Louis Box Turtle Project. We are taking a holistic approach to better understand ecosystem health using turtles as sentinels of or indicators of ecosystem health. So to better understand the health of, say, Forest Park, which is one of our sites, we are looking at a long-term data set of movement of each individual turtle, of health of the population, to better understand what's going on and ways we can mitigate threat to these native species. Internationally, some of our work includes topics like emerging infectious diseases. So in Kenya, dromedary camels are kind of what we call the new cow. With climate change, cows have a harder time in these hot, dry climates, and camels, domestic camels, can be kept for longer periods of time, and they often will use the milk for human consumption and meat. And camels, unfortunately, are known to carry certain viruses or bacteria that could be of harm to humans. So it could be passed between humans and animals, and even in the animal world between animals and wildlife. And so we're trying to better understand things like MERS, which is a coronavirus, so relevant now, in these camels, and see ways we can keep both animals and humans safe.
Our work is important because the health issues we deal with are complex ones, so we need to work together in teams with experts in different kinds of fields to solve some of the world's most threatening crises, including those of diseases such as COVID-19. We need to think about how humans are dramatically changing the landscape and our association with wild animals that threaten their existence, as well as exposing us to diseases to which we have no natural defenses. We need to pay attention to what the status of wildlife health tells us about the health of our own environment and of ourselves. All of these things are interconnected, but we have the power to understand these relationships and to do something about them. The ICM works to understand the complexities of these issues, find solutions for them, and bring them to light.
One of the main areas of research at the Institute for Conservation Medicine is the study of zoonotic disease. Now, zoonotic diseases are diseases that can be transmitted back and forth between animals and people. And COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease that most likely jumped from animals to people at a live animal market, or you may have heard the term wet market, in Wuhan, China. Now, in fact, raising animals for food or hunting animals for food is one of the main ways that humans can get exposed to zoonotic diseases. That's one of the reasons for our research program on dromedary camels in Kenya. Camels are increasingly used as livestock in northern Kenya, and we wanted to know what zoonotic diseases they might carry so that the people who rely on them for their milk and meat can stay safe. In the camels that we studied, we found high rates of exposure to primarily two zoonotic diseases, Q fever and MERS, or Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. Now, just like COVID-19, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome is caused by a type of coronavirus, and it also is a respiratory disease that caused a pretty remarkable outbreak in the early 2010s. Fortunately, the strain that we've seen in Kenya so far has not caused nearly a severe disease. And providing this knowledge about what zoonotic diseases are in these camels helps public health officials know what they need to do to keep the public safe. Another ICM program that studies zoonotic diseases is our program looking at arboviruses in Brazil. Arboviruses are viruses transmitted by insects like mosquitoes or ticks, and a number of them are zoonotic. In fact, Zika virus, chikungunya, dengue, West Nile virus, and yellow fever are all examples of arboviruses that affect both animals and people. And now we tend to think of zoonotic diseases in terms of the impact that they have on humans, but in a recent yellow fever outbreak in Brazil, there were 642 cases of illness in monkeys. So that highlights a really important point, which is that zoonotic diseases can be dangerous for animals as well as people because those pathogens go both ways. That means that understanding zoonotic diseases, what species are affected by them, how new ones arise, how they are transmitted, and ultimately how to prevent them is essential to conservation just as much as it is essential to public health and food security.
Now that you know about the Institute for Conservation Medicine and what One Health is, and how we work to ensure healthy animals and healthy people, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on COVID-19. And in the last few weeks, we've all learned a heck of a lot about epidemiology. We've learned phrases like flatten the curve and social distancing, pandemics and spillover, or disease sharing between non-human and human animals. We in the ICM, two of us are epidemiologists, and we've also learned a lot about what epidemiologists do, right? We study diseases and populations. But I want to ensure you as well, staff of the ICM work within the zoo's COVID-19 task force, and we work with other departments and other personnel and safety and human resources and animal division to really ensure that all of our animals remain healthy, that our staff is healthy and safe, and work to figure out the best time for opening so we can welcome you back to the zoo. We in the ICM work very hard for healthy animals and healthy people, and that is so true today in this age of COVID-19 pandemic. We look forward to seeing you soon.
As you've already heard, One Health involves multiple disciplines working together to protect animal, human, and environmental health. Veterinarians and scientists such as ecologists, biologists, and wildlife experts likely come to mind right away. Research on wildlife, domestic animal and human interactions, viruses transmitted by animals, and conservation medicine must all consider interrelated human and environmental issues. Human health professionals such as doctors, nurses, Epidemiologists and infectious disease experts take a One Health approach and work with other professionals when they evaluate viruses transmitted by animals to humans, illnesses that might be caused by environmental factors, and comparative medicine, such as diseases that are shared by both animals and humans. Studying climate change and conserving natural resources both also take a One Health approach because they must evaluate all three areas, human health, environmental health, and animal health, when trying to come up with solutions. Other areas that can benefit from a One Health approach include agricultural production and land use, communication and outreach, economic analyses, and public policy. Even individual pet owners and gardeners can take a One Health approach when deciding what to plant or how to care for your animal. Professional education and training of the next generation of One Health practitioners will be key in integrating a One Health approach in all these fields. No one discipline can address issues at the animal-human environmental interface alone. Through collaboration, a One Health approach can achieve the best outcomes for people, animals, and the environment.